Hey guys, Zor here from ZorGameGeek.com, here to talk to you about the Deadlands role-playing game system. I just posted an article reviewing the latest edition of Deadlands at ZorGameGeek.com/Deadlands. If you don't know Deadlands, it is the core setting that started the Savage Worlds role-playing game system, and they've gone through a couple of editions and a recently successfully funded Kickstarter by Pinnacle Entertainment Group is going to bring us the latest iteration, the latest edition, the Savage Worlds Adventure Edition version of Deadlands. I have a pre-release a copy of it. They've gone through a couple versions so far because I backed it at a certain level and they have given us this access. So I've read through it and here we go. I have that article up providing that full review. And today I'm going to talk to you about one of those pieces, and that is one of the more iconic character concepts in the Deadlands system, and that is the Huckster. The Huckster is an arcane background, so that's an edge you take at character creation, or you can take it later if you want, where you get the powers of a Huckster. Now, Hucksters have basically, the in-game term is sorcerers. They've made a deal with some dark spirits that they've learned through Hoyle's Book of Games. That Hoyle was the original Huckster, and he seeded in there secret instructions for how you as a player can access those powers. And the conceit of the Huckster is that you're tricking those powers out of the Manitow. You're tricking those abilities, and the way you're tricking them, or contest of wills, could kind of go either way, is you're envisioning that you're playing the hand of cards with the Manitow, and that's called dealing with the devil. Now, per the usual system of Savage Worlds, you have power points, and you spend those power points to activate spells and cast them, and it is a spell casting, your spell casting ability based off of smarts that you use to activate your spells. You also have to have a gambling skill as a prerequisite to be a Huckster, but you're not using that gambling for your standard spell casting. Now, if you're out of points, or if you want to cast a spell that's on your list that you don't know yet, or you want to cast a spell and you don't have the power points for it, then you have to make a deal with the devil. Well, not any deal. You're dealing with the devil because you're playing a game of cards with them. So you start off by making a gambling roll. And if you succeed, you get your 5 cards plus one more, 6 cards. If you fail your gambling roll, you just get your 5 cards, standard 5. If you critically fail, snake eyes your gambling roll, you start off with 4. And for each raise, you get an additional card. So you could get 7, 8, 9 cards. And there's some edges you can take that'll give you more cards as part of that roll. You then, you have to decide what spell it is before that hand gets dealt to you. I forgot that part. You have to decide what spell it is you're casting. Now, certain spells you can only access if you've reached a rank, sort of think of it as tiers within the Dungeons & Dragons system. There's novice, seasoned, veteran, heroic, legendary. And so certain spells are only available to you if you reach those tiers. Not if you're a Huckster, because dealing with the devil, you can pick these spells that are way out of your power range. And so you say what spell you're going to cast and all the different features you want to do with it, and you get your cards, and you try to make a poker hand out of it. If all you got is a single ace, then that's going to give you 2 power points. If you have 4 of a kind, then you're going to get 15 power points. And if you have some jokers in there, and maybe you got 5 of a kind, then you're going to get 15 power points plus some other perks. And so then, once you figure out how many power points you're getting from your hand of cards, you then have to make your spell casting roll. Now, if you didn't get enough points to cast your spell, for each point you're missing, your spell casting roll takes a -1 penalty. So if you needed 8 power points to cast whatever that spell is, and you only got 6, you're taking a -2. But also, you have to keep in mind that you're also suffering a penalty if you're trying to cast above your rank level. So you can try to cast that heroic level spell, but you're taking a -2 penalty for each rank above your current rank. So, got to think about that and these power points and penalties. The good news is, if you get too many power points, you can spend an extra power point from your hand of cards to give you a +1 per power point. And any unspent power points just go into your regular pool. And that's basically it. You decide your power, you take your hand of cards, you make your gambling roll, you try to make your hand, and if you succeed, great. If you fail, well, there's some problems there. If you critically fail your spellcasting roll, you're on the backfire table, and that backfire table is going to mess with your mind or your body as you are trying to contain this power and don't make it. If you can't make a hand of cards, if you just have this big mess and you don't even have a single ace, then you're going to be on the backfire table. Also, if you have to use a joker or choose to use a joker to make your hand, for each joker raised, the marshal is going to roll on the backfire table. So you could get 2 jokers, and that's 2 rolls on the backfire table. Then you fail your spellcasting roll, critically fail it, that's another roll on the backfire table. So there's a lot of cost benefit here with using the Deal with the Devil for Hucksters. But the thing to keep in mind is that's the only way you can get power points in the middle of combat without waiting, because you cannot spend a Benny as a Huckster to get your 5 power points. You also can't short your spell. That's a rule from Savage Worlds where, let's say it's a 5-point spell to cast, but you only got 4 points left. You're going to take a -1 penalty for the fact that you're shorting your spell by 1 point. You can't short, you can't use bennies. Your only option is to deal with the devil. That's the Huckster. Now, the other thing to keep in mind with Hucksters is trappings. Savage Worlds has this very generic, per the generic system that it is for powers. It says, hey, here's just the basic mechanics of the power, and you apply your own trappings, your own sort of, what is it called? What does it look like to that power when you activate it? For Hucksters, their powers are basically these mystical hand of cards, which is why they're often seen carrying around a regular deck of cards. It helps hide the fact that they're using magic, because in the Savage World setting, even though magic is around, it is taboo. It freaks out the populace. It raises their fear level. It causes them to come after the heroes, especially dark magic, dealing with mana tiles like the Hucksters. All right, there you have it. There is Hucksters in the Savage Worlds Deadlands setting. If you want to learn more about Deadlands, go to zorgamegeek.com/Deadlands. Again, that is zorgamegeek.com/Deadlands. Thanks for watching. Keep gaming.